It worked. See, I
Oh,
told you
well,
it's
look
gonna
at that.
work. Y'all, a little backstory. We was trying to do some test runs, and we were not. It just was not working out. So we were kind of prepared for the worst, but it worked out. It worked. I'm so glad it worked.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about that, and I saw it pop up. I said, "Oh shoot, it's about to work."
Yeah. Okay. 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 Well, usually when I interview people and talk to people, I don't tend to introduce them. I let people introduce themselves up, hype themselves up. So if you would please go ahead and hype yourself up, and then we can get started.
Oh man, no pressure, no pressure. So again, thank you for even asking me to come in and like talk to the group about this because I know this year in taxes has been crazy. There's so much confusion just because of all of the information going out,
Yeah.
and then the next day they change it. So thank you for letting me come in and talk about it. But my name is Timberland Bowens, and I am the owner of Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions. We are a Louisville, Kentucky-based virtual firm. So what we specialize in is tax resolution. So we help people after they're already in trouble with the IRS.
Uh,
So when they get those letters, those liens and levies, we are their advocate and go on their behalf to get that settled with the IRS, whether it be setting up a payment plan, getting it settled for an even less amount because that's the popular thing now you see on TV, settle for pennies on the dollar.
hmm.
Um, we do that type of stuff as well as preventative care because
Okay.
yes, I love helping my clients there, but we don't want to see you get there. So that's one of the things with this payroll tax deferral I've been informing people about because you want to make sure that you are informed so you don't end up getting that letter from the IRS.
Oh yes.
So that is,
Excited.
yeah.
Okay.
But yes, that is what I do and how we got connected.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm definitely excited for this talk. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot because I don't know much about this payroll tax cut. All I know is that there was some tax cut and we're going to be getting more in our checks. That's all I know. So I am just going to ask you some simple, straightforward, basic questions, and you can just take over and run with it in whichever direction you like. So,
Sure.
the first question, what is it? Like, what is this whole payroll tax thing? A lot of people actually don't know what it is.
Okay. Okay, I had to make sure you were done. There's a little bit of lag,
Yeah, yeah.
we've already
Facebook.
talked about it.
I already know how
Facebook is
Facebook do.
playing. So, what a lot of people don't realize is, when you go out there, you get your first job, you're like, oh, I work this many hours times how much I get paid. And then you get that first check and you're like, wait, where's my money? So, part of that that comes out is for the federal taxes. Um, Depending on what state you live in, state taxes, local taxes. The part that's deemed payroll taxes is the Social Security and Medicare part, which, if you follow any kind of financial stuff in our country, the Social Security and Medicare system is a straw house, absolutely. So when
Wow.
they say that, yeah, so the payroll tax cut, you're still paying into the federal tax system, you're still paying into the state and local, but what they are saying starting September 1st is that employers had the option to actually defer that payroll tax liability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that it's messing up a lot of people because when we had the tax reform a couple of years ago, it was the Tax Cuts and Job Act. So people are like, oh, yeah, this is a tax cut. And really, it's not, it's a deferral. So,
I'm glad you mentioned.
this, yeah, so a lot of people are getting excited. Like, I got this little piece bit more in my check. And really, starting in January, from January to April, the part that was deferred, you're going to have to pay back in addition to the part you would usually pay.
And that's your
So,
tax payment that you would normally have to make. So you would either have to you would either have a tax payment or they would either take it out your tax refund.
And that is the part where we don't have all of the clarity.
That
So let me just go back a little bit. For the Social Security and Medicare part, for every $100 you make, $7.50 goes to Social Security and Medicare. 6.2% of that is Social Security. So let's just say every $100, $6.20 is going to Social Security.
mm-hmm.
Social Security is the only portion of the payroll tax that's deferred. So for people, let's say you make $1,000 every paycheck. That's not going to be a lot of money, but of course, right now with the pandemic and the way stuff is going, every little bit counts.
Yeah.
So what I've been advising people is, it's nice, it's right before Christmas, but don't get used to having that money, because what's going to happen is you're getting to keep that 6.2% now, but when you pay it back, like I mentioned, you're going to have to pay that back in addition to what you usually pay. So it's going to seem like, ouch, because it's going to be that 12.4% come January to April.
Sheesh.
Now, yeah. And then what they did, like they introduced this great thing, the payroll tax deferral, but then employers were given the option if they wanted to do that or not. So then we have all of these individual taxpayers out here like, oh yeah, I want to get this extra money out of their check, but really it's their, I want to say their boss, maybe their boss's boss that gets to decide if they're even going to opt into that. Unless they work for certain government agencies like the military.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have a brother who's in the army, he didn't have an option. They're doing the payroll tax deferral. And I was like, look, you need to make sure that come January, you're prepared to pay that back in double.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Double. Oh.
yeah, from January to April. So, and the other thing I've been telling people, like, depending, like, so when we think small business, typically, especially within our community, we think of the people bootstrapping it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they took their last whatever, put into a business, but by Small Business Association definition, small businesses are making like $1, $2 million, and they're still under the small business. So
Interesting.
for business, yeah, for businesses like that, they may opt into it and they can like put that money into an escrow account, make a little bit of money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be okay. But for those of us that are bootstrapping, don't have uncle or parent that can just give us the 40,000 to make up for it, I would just say if you opt into it, be very careful, because it may turn into a robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to be obligated to pay those payroll taxes. And for certain companies where we've seen companies let employees go, they have not given a solution yet for what would happen in that situation.
We got a.
So let's say, for example,
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
We got a question here. It says, "What about the federal? They have not been taking federal from me. I read it was something that was passed."
Okay, so for the federal, that one, it would depend on what is on your W-4 if we're talking about for federal income tax. And what you would want to look at to see if your employer has opted into this is if they are withholding Social Security right now for the month of September. The payroll cut tax deferral wouldn't affect your federal withholding unless you had somebody in HR that was like, hey, we can change this too, which they shouldn't have. Um, but going back to what I was saying before, with employers and companies letting people go, the Social Security is supposed to be paid from the employee's wages. So what happens if I lose an employee between now and then? I'm still responsible for paying that. And that's why they put this together and put it out there. But that's something else that small businesses need to be aware of, especially if you have industries that are hurting right now, like retail or restaurants. Because we have a lot of mom and pop restaurants, and it's like, okay, if they have to let cooks and stuff go, they're going to be holding the bag to pay that Social Security back as of right now. There's been talk about there being something where they reconcile it on the 1040 for next year. I all the stuff that's happened this year is going to ensure that I have a job for quite some time.
Okay.
Was there a follow-up question to that? I want to make sure that I
No follow up
understood what they were
question.
asking. Okay.
Yeah, no follow up question yet. So I think you said this already, but I know companies can opt out of it, but individuals, can they opt out of it? And if so, how do they do that?
So that's been something that the government is still, I feel bad for, I guess, bigger employers that don't have like a good relationship with their employees because the government has left them holding the bag. So they're going to either be the good guy or the bad guy. So we have some companies where they're like, we're opting in, you don't have a choice. And then we have some employers that have said you have the option to participate in this or not, which being in that company would make things complicated for them. So it's something that if you don't want to participate in, I would definitely, you can contact your HR or the person in charge of payroll to see if you have that option at your company.
And is there any kind of penalty or anything associated with not participating in it as an individual?
There, there is not any type of penalty. What will happen though, if next year, when I was saying it's supposed to be paid back from January 1st to April 30th, if it's not all paid back by by April 30th, sorry, then penalties and interest will start accruing on it.
Oh wow. Hmm.
Yeah. But again, that's one of those things where the employers are going to kind of be the bad guy there because I mean, I was telling people, why would you want to participate in it? And like your whole life you've been working, you've had to pay into Social Security. I was like, you never seen that $6.20 anyway. Just keep having them withhold it. And the employer has always been responsible for withholding it for you.
Hmm.
So I don't, it's going to be them that's paying the interest and penalties um, if that's not all taken care of by April.
So this payroll tax deferral thing was primarily done as a part of a stimulus package.
That is what they said. I think really it's close to election time. This is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
This isn't anything that I just put out. I think it's close to election.
Oh, you froze.
It's close to election time and it's a bunch of smoke
Mm-hmm.
because let's say it is to set up if the Democrats take the White House, people are going to be mad come January when double's being taken out. It's going to be like, oh, look, they came into office and this happened. Um, yeah, because it's not even if we look to like people who talk on these matters in like Forbes magazine or things like that, nobody is saying this is a good idea. Because
It
yeah, it appears like you're getting something. And there, people are like, "Oh, well, it was already mine." It's like, yeah, and you are still gonna have to pay it just later.
wow.
So
It doesn't
it's
seem like people are saving that much though. Like you said, $6 and some change or so. So
for every $100.
so it's not really even worth all of the hassle, really. Hmm.
No, depending on your pay, you may be able to get like an extra dinner. And like I said, it'll be nice for people like around Christmas time.
Oh. So
Yeah,
what's
and I don't want to discredit like a lot of people have been affected financially by the pandemic. So I mean, that may be the difference between some bills with them. But if we're looking at catching up, I think the effect of having to pay double come the spring will be worse.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, you actually already answered my next question. I was going to ask for those who were having a hard time making a decision on whether or not they wanted to opt in or opt out, what insight would you give them to help make that decision? But I think you just answered that question. Would you rather save a little coin now or pay double in a few months? So I think you already
Yeah.
covered that. Um, so this payroll tax deferral thing is it lasts until January, and then they stop deferring the taxes in January. So it stops in January, pretty much.
Yeah. So like when employers have to put in their payroll stuff, we just ended a quarter. So the September, October, November, December, all will go on that last one. This is like if you have employees. People that have employees in here will like know what I'm talking about. You have to file that last form. That's the one where the Social Security tax is being deferred. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next group chunk is where it gets paid back that double.
Somebody said,
What
"What if
if
you
you
decide?"
decide?
Oh, you can see it.
So if you decide not to do anything at all, you just need to make sure that your employer has not decided to do something for you because they're the ones that are going to ultimately be choosing if you're participating in it or not. Like I said, I would reach out ASAP to my HR or payroll person because some people don't have that option. Like I mentioned earlier in the military, like my brother doesn't have the option. They're doing the deferral,
That's
which them being that big of an entity, like I mentioned earlier, there are going to be some companies that are well enough size where they're probably going to defer that and then put it into an escrow account and they're going to make a little bit of money off of it. But for our everyday mom and pop shop, that's not going to be a good move.
okay. Um, is there anything we haven't covered that you feel that people should know about this?
Um, I don't believe so, but like I said, this one they changed from the time they announced it, and then they changed some more stuff the day after it was actually signed and released. So I would just say like trying to find, which is hard now, a trusted news source. I follow people that actually work with the IRS to do the interpretation of it. I personally cover that kind of stuff. I have a blog, which is Tax Tips with Timbaland.
Let me
You
down
can go,
tips.
yes, Tax Tips with Timbaland. So you can go
Emily.
to www.bowens, Bowens, taxsolutions.com and find it there. So like I've covered things like the payroll tax deferral. Soon I'll be covering like again the unemployment because a lot of people that have maybe they get the earned income credit, they're definitely going to be affected by unemployment because that's not earned income, so it's going to throw that credit off. Um, and
Wow.
just different things. And of course, like I said earlier, I help people who are already in tax trouble. So some of the articles there will be geared towards them, but I also believe in preventative care, especially for our community as well. I think I have another
Yeah.
question. So if they defer it and during the time period where they take double, you do not work at the company, who does it fall on, the employee or the employer? Okay, that is a perfect question and one that has actually been raised before they passed it. They have not given us any clear guidance on it. So right now, it looks like it's going to fall on the employer. They have mentioned editing the 2020 tax return so that it reconciles on the tax return. So if you didn't pay it, you still will. Um, so for anybody in here that may be self-employed or own a business, you know that when you file your Schedule C and you pay self-employment tax, whether you're paying it in or not, it reconciles on the 1040. So if you didn't pay it during the year, you still end up paying it with your tax return. They have mentioned doing that, but as of right now, it's going to fall on the employer if the employee no longer works there in the spring. And that's why I was saying, like, keeping that trusted news source because they flip and flop so much this year. Like, we heard about the first stimulus, how much it was going to be, and we heard about stimulus for months.
I
Some
keep
people
seeing
still haven't
stuff
even
about
gotten the
that
first
second
stimulus.
stimulus, but I ain't seeing nothing. I'm seeing something, but I ain't seeing nothing. They talking a little bit too much about this second stimulus. It ain't coming.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah. So
rate they going.
one was supposed to have just been approved, but like I said, they sent out, I want to say it was 7 million. I can't remember. They sent out so many stimulus checks to dead taxpayers. We have so many that still haven't received the first stimulus check. So they haven't even gotten that situated. So please, please, please keep your eyes, ears open about this payroll tax deferral and find that trusted resource. Unfortunately, everybody posting memes is not right. So I'll say that again. Everybody posting memes is not right. So
Oh, I'm
find
glad
that
we got
trusted resource.
because the memes was a trusted resource, and whatever news source popped up on Google, those are my trusted resources. So I'm glad that you're here to shed some light.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I like to do preventative care too. So I've seen stuff about hiring children. I did a video last year. I'm going to revamp it to make sure that's up to date to get that out there too. Because in building legacy built businesses, that's something we want to do, is be able to hire our children. But to actually have the tax benefits, there's a certain way things need to be structured and set up. So I go over that. So even if you don't go to the website, the videos, I believe the blogs always make it over there too. If you go to the business tax page, here on Facebook, it is Bowen's Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions. And if you like and follow the page, you'll see the videos when they come up and the different blogs as well. So we'll be covering these hot issues too, so that people don't end up in trouble.
I'm putting your website in the comment section, and hopefully I can pin it.
Okay.
I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Um, Bowen's Tax Solutions. I'm getting better with this technology stuff though. BowensTaxSolutions.com. Okay. Okay, there we go. It is in the comment section. If you want to keep up with her, there's the website there. And you said the Facebook name was Bowen Tax Solutions. Is it the same name?
Um, it's Bowen's Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions. But if you go to the website, there is a little Facebook thing where you can click and it'll take you right to the page. So that is an option as well.
Awesome,
Because
awesome.
the Facebook page has a little more action on there. We post more often than on the website.
Yeah.
However, like I said, believing in preventative care, if you do go visit the website now, we have a free whitelist report, and it's the 7 secrets the IRS doesn't want you to know.
Oh,
So we
okay.
don't want people to get in trouble, but if you go there now, that is a free PDF download.
Cool, cool. Okay. I'm going to read that. Okay. Well, it was a pleasure having you on today. I definitely learned a lot that I didn't know before, so I do greatly appreciate that. And
You're welcome.
I'm definitely going to be utilizing your website and your social media page because I'm my thing is financial literacy, but my thing is not taxes. I do not deal with that. I leave that to the professionals like you. But I do appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us and spending some time with us today. It seems that you helped a few people on the broadcast as well.
Well, again, thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. Well, it's Friday, so let's all enjoy our weekend. I hope you have a great weekend and keep in touch.
Thank you. You do the same.
You too. Bye.
Bye.